YouTube, what's going on? Flag 1122 back again for Synth Pop Review. Oh, here's my kitten String. She wants to say hello. Hi String. Say hello to the Synth Pop YouTube community. Okay, go away now. Anyway, Flag 1122 back again for Synth Pop Review. This wonderful, nutty synth pop world that we're all a part of. Decided to choose kind of a strange band for this week's episode. It's a band that I'm not absolutely thrilled about. You know, I'm not some sort of super fanatic for this, but I do love this release, and it's going to be Scissor Sisters and the album Nightwork. It was released in 2010, and here it is in all its gluteus glory right there, gluteus maximus glory. Very shocking cover, very enticing cover. I discovered the Scissor Sisters, it's kind of a strange way. A lot of people know that I'm a Pet Shop Boys fanatic, and a couple years ago I picked up their documentary, the wonderful documentary, Pet Shop Boys: A Life in Pop, that deals with their history, you know, and the creation of the band. And they had a lot of people that, you know, were interviewed for the documentary that were, you know, famous musicians that had bands, and Jake Shears was one of them, you know, and he's the lead singer, kind of band leader for Scissor Sisters, and he was mentioning how much the Pet Shop Boys had meant to him, and especially in kind of he used to be kind of a go-go dancer, I guess, Jake Shears did, and you know, that's pretty fascinating in its own right. But I was like, okay, this guy's kind of a Pet Shop Boys fan, and I haven't heard much of his music, but I'll check him out. And I went and listened to some of their, this is their third release, if I didn't mention that. I listened to some of their earlier music, and I wasn't that blown away by it. But in 2010, I remember I was in Barnes & Noble, and I looked at this cover, and I was like, oh, wait a second, I didn't even know it was Scissor Sisters, but I saw there was Scissor Sisters. I was like, okay, I'll pick this up. And I picked it up, and I loved it. I love this release right here, Nightwork. You know, this is track number 1, aptly entitled Nightwork. A little bit about the Scissor Sisters. Like I said, I'm not like a huge fan of the Scissor Sisters, but they're kind of like a glam rock, sort of down and dirty, kind of slightly gross band, you know. Jake Shears, I think he's a really talented guy, and I think he's got a very nice vocal range. Like I said before, he used to be a go-go dancer. I think he was a go-go dancer in New York. It's in the underground, like clubs and stuff like that. And he's pretty big in like the gay club scene. This is a whole new way. This is the first song that really impressed me on the album. I think the reason that the album appeals to me a great deal is because there's a lot of electronic sounds, a lot of synth sounds in this, and it's just kind of grimy. It's got a grimy sound. He's got a grimy voice. Listen to this. He's just kind of like, it's kind of a voice that you would find like back alleys, you know, or mopping up nudie boots, if I can use a Clerk reference. You know, it's just kind of slimy, and I like that. You know, it works really well. It's kind of a porno voice, and that, you know, on top of the great synth riffs, you know, and kind of the interesting kind of like bass guitar riffs, you know, it's just a really fascinating sound. And it's not a sound that when I went back and I first started to kind of listen to some Scissor Sister music from the first 2 releases, I was like, I wasn't really finding much of that, much of the kind of like smooth synth grooves that I love so much. But when I picked this up, I loved it, you know, and I listened to it in 2010. I remember it was kind of like a summer album for me. I listened to it all summer in 2010, just kept listening to it. But Scissor Sisters, I'm not even familiar with everybody's name in the band. I think it's a foursome or a fivesome. Of course, foursome. Jake Shears on vocals. Jake Shears is the leader, like I said. Anna Matronic, I think that's how you say that, is on vocals, backup vocals, the chick. Baby Daddy, it's called Baby Daddy. Bass, keys, guitars, and programming. And then Dale Marquis is the guitar. not very familiar with the history, and I didn't want to dig into that. I just want to tell you that I really like this release. Kind of a funny story about this ass picture right here. Place I worked in 2010, I brought this CD into work with me one day, and I was at my desk, and this coworker that I had I no longer work at this place. He came up to me and he saw this cover on my desk, and I knew this was a guy's ass. I just knew it from looking at it. Not that I look at a lot of guys' butts. I do look at some guys' butts. Some guys have nice butts. Some women have beautiful butts, but I knew it was a guy's butt. And then later on I realized that, and I did some research, and it was some dancer, famous ballet dancer guy's bottom. But anyway, this guy was kind of like a macho guy, one of those like stereotypical like manly football dudes. And he goes, "Damn, that's a fine looking ass. Well, who does that music?" And I didn't have the heart to tell him, I think this is a guy's butt. But hey, maybe that's what he was trying. Maybe he was trying to throw me a signal, and I didn't really kind of understand where he was coming from, and it was a whole confused thing. Anyway, back to the music. That's just kind of a weird story. There's ballads in this too, so you'll have a real like up-tempo kind of disco grimy anthem song like a Whole New Wave, and this is what's it called, Fire with Fire, and it's kind of a rock ballad almost, and that's where you kind of get to like listen to Jake Shears' voice. I mean he can really, like I said before, he's got a really nice range, and it's not always just sleazy and slimy sounding. He does have a really nice voice, and it's not like a pretty voice, but it's just a kind of a unique voice, and that's what I like about a lot of the vocalists that I really have loved throughout the years, like Neil Tennant and Dave Gahan. They're not necessarily like stereotypical like amazing voices, but they just have a quality. And I think Prince is that way too. You just instantly know who's singing, and I just think that's fantastic. Came out in 2010. I'm just going to read a couple stuff. The singles that were released are Fire with Fire, this song, and Any Which Way, and Invisible Light. We'll get to Invisible Light later. But I know that Jake Shears worked with Stuart Price, which Stuart Price is a really famous producer. He's worked with a lot of groups. I think he's worked with Pet Shop Boys even. And they had... Before they released this, they had a previous version of the record that it was scrapped in 2009, and Jake Shears, I guess he had kind of a fundamentalist breakdown or something, or crisis of spirit. He moved to Berlin and had some inspiration for this record, and I think it was really interesting, and I think he brought a lot of that Berlin underground nightclub, vibe to this release. My personal favorites on this record, I really like the song Sex and Violence, not just because of the title, which is a fantastic title, but listen to this. Right away, I'm going to be interested in a song that sounds like that. It's just very quirky. I don't know what kind of synthesizer work that is. It's just very strange. It sounds like almost got like a Bronski beat, sound to it. And I really like the lyrics too. And I'm not really much of a lyrics guy usually, but very interesting lyrics on here too. A lot of lyrics on the songs deal with post-party hours. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's passed out. There's broken lampshades and ashtrays, and the beds are unmade. He's just singing about grimy after party, in the harsh light of day, walk of shame. And I kind of like that. It's kind of like this record right here. It's like one part these power ballads, and then one part debauchery. It's just almost like late 70s Studio 54 kind of end of disco era kind of Dionysian debauchery, and that kind of gets me to the next song on here that I really enjoy, which is called Invisible Light. And this song is just very strange. I think that's the last track on the album is Invisible Light. This is my favorite track on the song. It's kind of a long song too. I think it's close to 6 minutes in the running time. And it's just very, very odd. I mean, it's almost like a retelling of a Dionysian festival. Some very strange lyrics on here. Opiate utopia gets hotter by the hour. I found you a flower in a field of my intentions, among the tired, among the poor. When you answer to a new name, it changes all the time. It's just weird stuff, man. I mean, this is almost like, you know, like a Dionysian festival, and you can imagine like big bonfires, you know, and wine just flowing everywhere, and orgies over here to the right, and like a whole bunch of weird like animal sacrifices, although I would never ever have anything to do with animal sacrifices. But orgies, on the other hand, I'm always up for a good old-fashioned orgy. And there's also a couple tracks. This is one of them, and Any Which Way, where Jake Shears' lead vocal just kind of fades away, and you get this really strange, like almost, you know, remember in the old Michael Jackson song Thriller, you know, he had Vincent Price come on there and do just like vocals, you know, on like for the Thriller song, you know, like darkness falls at night, midnight hour is close at hand, you know, the Vincent Price voice. It almost sounds like a Vincent Price like guy in here. Let me kind of fast forward. I'm doing it old school, so I got to fast forward the Sony boombox. But I really like that. It's quirky when you know, the lead vocals kind of fade away, and you get this strange, just abstract vocal out of nowhere. Listen to this. It's coming up here soon. Just bear with me. I like that too, that little that drum sound right there. It's like the old what's that song? Listen. Pretty strange, but that little da-da-da-da-da-da-da, it's like the old Oh Yeah song by Yellow. Remember the group Yellow? The Moon. Da-da-da-da. I like that a lot. Anyway, I'm not drunk, I just like this song. But it's really cool stuff, you know. I mean, like I said, I couldn't like suggest like Scissor Sisters as a band that are really just, you know, that just blow me away, and that their overall body of work is just super impressive to me. I like this album, Nightwork, right here. I know they released an album last year, I think around the middle of the year, and I sampled through that. Again, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I just think it's the kind of hot up-tempo synth riffs and just the weirdness of this release right here, and kind of the, like I said before, kind of the griminess of it that kind of got to me, you know. But I do respect Jake Shears as an artist. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a quirky guy, and it's the kind of guy that I kind of respect, you know, and that he likes the Pet Shop Boys. That's just a level up right there. So listen to this, you know. I mean, even if you're not familiar with Scissor Sisters, I think this is worth checking out just for the amazing taut gluteus maximus right here. Just find it. I'm sure you can download it anywhere. Go out and buy, copy it. If you can find a used CD store, used record store. Anyway, that's all for me today for Synth Pop Review. I've been babbling on now for who knows how long. I hope you liked Mike. He did his first video on here, and it's awesome that he's jumped on this channel. He's going to help me out a lot. I really enjoyed watching that review on the Human League Stare. Awesome stuff. Anyway, guys and gals, Synth Pop community, take care. I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.